Okay, hey, welcome back! It's the second episode of The Creature from the Krusty Krab. This is a game I've never played before, so I don't know what's going on. I know a bit better than last episode, but still, it's sort of just like a weird, trippy dream experience that... Can I hit this? I need to move that into this somehow, but I don't know how yet, so... Oh, okay, I know what it is. It's, the Viking helmet thing. I missed. Okay. Okay, there we go. So, if you're new to this, I don't know why you're watching the second episode, go watch the first episode, but basically, we're in a weird, like, steampunk, gritty, mechanic, car racing world, dream world that has fire in the sky, and Spongebob does dances all the time for... I don't know why he does that, but he does that quite often. Well, I guess that's when I get a new move, so I have some sort of move that can open safes? Oh, that's a save. Okay, that's a save place. It will slap it by pressing B. It will even save your... Okay. So I'm going to go use that. Looks like the checkpoints and the save places are in the same item. Because before it used to just auto-save, like in Battle for Bikini Bottom. Just you do it whenever you get like a spatula or something. Do you want to try and save the... Does not... Did I not save properly or something? What? No, stop... Like, okay, why did it ask me that? Like, I just saved. Why is that the default option? Is this a thing I can hit? Okay, it's a crate. Oh, these guys I can attack. Okay, there we go. We got a spin attack. It's weird why there's, like, this attack. And, oh, it's like a grab. Oh, it's a grab. So that's interesting. But I find it a bit redundant how there's, like, a spin attack, which, like, does damage, and then there's, like, this. Like, is there a difference between the two, or is it just aesthetically? But that was a problem with Truth or Square, the game, too. It had too many attacks that they achieved the same thing. They weren't really more beneficial than any other attack in a specific situation. Okay, so the ground pound seems like it does a bit more shock damage than other moves, so that might be something to consider. Yes, okay, that looks like a more powerful move. This looks like okay, it can grab stuff, so that's kind of useful. It doesn't look... Okay, it looks like the grab's advantage is just being able to collect items a bit better. I mean, like, the range isn't great, so I don't see what the huge advantage of it is, but... Is there, like, an upgrade thing in this? Okay, it just tells me what to do. I don't think there's an upgrade thing. I know there's, like, a bonus area where you can buy stuff. This is weird. Oil everywhere. I like the idea that it has different, themes for different characters' levels. So SpongeBob seems like a very... car-based and almost Mad Max style of world. If you haven't seen the new Mad Max, by the way, go see it. I know a lot of people have raved about it, and I'm going to be raving about it too. My friends and I went to go see it, and my friends were like, this doesn't look good, because, like, before going, we watched a bit of the first Mad Max, which isn't anything like the later Mad Maxes. Like, if the first three Mad Maxes that had, no, thank you. Okay, the first three Mad Maxes that had, what's his name? It's the guy, He's in Braveheart. I don't know why I know... Bruce? Is it Bruce? He's from Australia. Why do I not know his name? Basically, he's the guy who had a rant that was very anti-Semitic, and he's sort of not in the public eye anymore. He was in Signs, too. He also directed, like, The Passion of Christ. Why do I not know his name? Basically, he was really good in Mad Max 1 and 2. I haven't seen 3. A lot of people don't seem to like 3 very much. 2 is basically the Mad Max most like Fury Road. It's a big car chase oriented movie, but Fury Road, like, the whole visual style and the acting and the characters, it's such a great movie. And, like, if you haven't seen it, it's basically the best car chase you will ever see in, like, recent years. Because most of the movie, it's just it's a whole bunch of action scenes, and there are very few points in the movie where anything was CG. I think, like, the only CG were background components. So all my friends, after seeing it, they're like, this looks way better. This was way better than the trailers made it look. Because the trailers just made it seem generic, because, like, they had a guy with a flame-throwing guitar. But no, trust me, that is one of the best parts of the movie, like, that guy. So I was talking to people who had, like, not seen the movie, and I was saying, like, yeah, it's a really good movie. They're like, really? I thought it looked terrible. And I'm like, no! How dare you? How dare you say that? And I was trying to justify to them, and they're like, well, no, it just looks creepy and weird, but once you see it, like, you'll change your mind completely. It's such a good movie. But yeah, I don't actually get to see a whole lot of movies in the theaters because, did I go here? Okay, just a second. I have to, pause something for a second. Okay, sorry about that. Someone came to my door. I thought it was someone who actually needed to go see, but it was actually someone who was just coming to ask for bottles because they're doing a bottle drive, and I was like, no, I don't have bottles. We don't use bottles here. No, but seriously, I hated doing bottle drives as a kid. I had to do one for my hockey team once, and my partner, like, we're supposed to go in groups of 2 and go with someone on our team and go door to door and ask for bottles, but my partner wasn't there that day, so I had to do it alone, and it was like, oh my god, it's a tedious process, and it's just like, I wish I wasn't doing this. I did actually do like a thing for around Christmas time. It's you basically the beer store, which is just they sell alcohol. You stand outside and then you ask people, would you rather donate your bottles to a Christmas charity? So I would stand out there for 4 hours. It was cold, and it was like one of the coldest experiences I've ever had, just standing outside for 4 hours. But I mean, it was obviously for a good cause, so it was worth it. But I wouldn't recommend. I live in Canada, by the way, so it gets cold. And where am I going? It gets cold in the winters. I think the worst time I've ever had, like, doing a job outside for hours is I had to deliver papers for... I delivered papers for a year. Where am I supposed to go? I'll get back to my story, but I need to figure out where I need to go first. Is this, like, a side thing that I went into? It might have been. I like this dash mechanic. This is actually a really useful thing, because I hate games where you just have to, like, screw around for a while. Oh, okay, I wasn't supposed to go in there. That makes more sense. Okay, back to my story. I had a job delivering papers for a year, so I know a whole lot about delivering papers. And I knew, like, my whole street up and down. I knew, like, which houses had dogs, which ones to avoid, which ones had the best mailboxes. Because when you have to open, like, mailboxes for a year, like, and deliver, like, 100 papers each week, you get to know which houses, like, have the best mailbox design. So... like, personally, my house, it has an okay mailbox design. Like, it's sort of just like a plastic thing that flips up. But there are houses who, like, have this big metal thing, and it's like, this is too heavy. Like, what do you expect to be in here? And there's some places that have, like, a little, like, latch to make it really easy to open up. Keep in mind, like, I have a big bag over my shoulder that's really heavy. And in the winter, I need to, like, have my gloves off to actually put the papers in. So I need to open your mailbox really fast. Otherwise, I'm going to die and get frostbite. I've never gotten frostbite. That's a terrible thing to get, but there's one point where I couldn't feel my hands when I got home, and I was just like, oh, this hurts so much. So I ran them under hot water for a while, trying to get the blood circulating again, and I just sat on my bed, like, almost in tears because it hurt so much to have the blood, like, flowing back in. Like, I could barely take the pain. It sucks when... this is not a place I can go. It sucks trying to, like, get, circulation going again. Which is the reason I really don't like skiing a whole lot, because skiing takes place up in mountains that are really cold, and my family usually likes to go for hours, and I generally prefer not to because I just can't take how cold it is. Like, I've been to, what is it, Mont Blanc? I'm trying to think of, like, the coldest time I ever went. Mont Blanc is probably one of them. Mont Blanc is like a... Did I save? Save, I guess. Mont Blanc is one of the colder, like, taller mountains in Canada. I think it's in Canada. I don't know if it's in Canada. I honestly don't know. I haven't even been there in a while. Save. Tremblant is another one that's, like, really cold, but I didn't ski on Tremblant. I just went up to the top of Tremblant in, like, the summer. So, it's, like, it's even cool to, like, go up on ski hills that double in the summer as water parks. There's this one, Mont Cascade. It's basically a water park / ski hill in Quebec, which is, like, the province next to mine. And... it's a cool place. Like, the idea that you can go and do things like one half of the year go water park, the other half of the year skiing. Because in Canada, our summers, like, water parks are not a good investment because you can't use them for a whole while. Like, there's this water park called Calypso, which is new to, like, not in where I live, but it's close to where I live. And it's cool to go there, but then you realize I can't really go here very often because the season's very short, and... even then, like, it's not that great of a water park. It just has, like, the coolest thing is probably the wave pool. But, like, wave pools are at different places, so it's not that interesting. There was going to be, like, a water park built, like, really close to my home. Like, really, really close. Like, within a 20-minute drive, and that would have been insane. But the thing is, like, my hometown isn't a great place to build water parks. And I think it was more like they had a pun based on, like, the name of it. And I'm going to tell you the pun. Like, I live in Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada. So, like, Ottawa. But the name of the park was A Lotta Wada. So if you look at the name, like, a lot of water, Ottawa is in the middle of that name. So I'm pretty sure they're just like, let's build a theme park with that name. But they just wanted to say, like, let's do that because of the name. And also, I think they just wanted to say, oh, we can do a water park. That's, like, cool. They haven't done anything on it for years. Like, they announced this years ago, and, like, nothing has happened on it. Am I sort of just, like, going in and out of things, I guess? Just to hit these guys. So far, combat is really easy. Like, I haven't really had any trouble. Like, I don't think anyone's been able to get a hit on me, so... I do really like this dash mechanic. Like, it's actually a bit hard to control, so it's a trade-off between your normal movement, but it actually gives, like, significant speed. So, good on them. That's a good way to design a dash mechanic. Like, Patrick's cartwheel that he has in the movie game, like, it's a decent dash mechanic, but you have a bit too much control over it to be, like, worth that gamble, and in order for, like, I feel like you need to lose a bit of control when you have a mechanic that makes you go faster to give, like, a reason to not always be using that mechanic. Like, an example, Ocarina of Time, or, like, most Zelda games, it's generally preferable to just roll everywhere. Like, there's no point in just walking. Like, it's stupid to walk. Which is one reason I really like Skyward Sword, because it introduced a sprint mechanic, so instead of rolling, you could just get to sprint everywhere, and, like, you can't use the sprint the whole time because you have a meter. But other times, like in Ocarina, you just roll, like, somersault across a whole field, which isn't, like, it's not realistic. But yeah, so that's my rant on dash mechanics. I rant about the stupidest game design elements. But anyway, yeah, this combat isn't hard in the slightest. I know this is like, I know I play as different characters in this game, and this is only one of them, but I don't think combat is as big a deal in this game as it was in other Spongebob games. Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, for example, that's a very puzzle-oriented game. Like, it's primarily a puzzle game. It's a very archaic game, but, I mean, I still, like, had some fun with it, even though it has a lot of problems. Like, comparing the art style of that game to this game, or, like, any later SpongeBob game, it's very bare bones. Like, I know that, so I lost my words for a second. Basically, the game came out on the GameCube and the PS2, which, I don't think it really was meant to come out on those, because it doesn't look nearly as good as some of the later games that came out on those consoles. So, I have a theory that, like, the game was actually designed for the N64 and, like, PS1, because, like, it wouldn't look out of place on those consoles. Like, the graphics are about that level. But I'm thinking, is the game got so far into development that those new consoles, like the GameCube, came out, and then they're like, let's just put it on there, because, like, no one's gonna buy it on the old consoles, because it honestly feels like a PS1 or N64 game. It doesn't really feel like a PS2 or GameCube game. And the PS2 version, it actually has a lot of, like, game-breaking bugs, which is a reason that one didn't do too well. The GameCube version is okay. Like, it works fine. But, generally, I don't know how reliable this source is, but a lot of people like to say that the company who made it, which is, like, Big Sky Studios, that's an animation company. That is not, it's whatever, Big Blue Sky or whatever, it's something. They went out of business because the PS2 port was so crappy. Which, I mean, I don't know how likely that is. They made, like, a Jimmy Neutron game, and that one game, and then that was it. So it might be, but I don't think one bad game can really ruin a company like that. I mean, there's a lot of companies that have made a lot of bad games, and they're still going, so yeah, whatever. SpongeBob wikis aren't the best place to get sources. Is this a skull and crossbones? This is, I can't quite see it, but yeah, that's a cool little detail. But anyway, don't make SpongeBob wikis your first source for information. Did that fucking thing go? Damn it! What? Why did that do that? Did I not, like, raise this high enough? Or does it have, like, a power? Like, after? Oh, it probably goes down. That's why. Okay, let's try and beat it. Yeah, basically, this is, like, the first time I've been able to just sit down and play a new game in a while. Like, these past 3 months, I played, like, Truth or Square. That was the only game I really played, or had time to play, because school was taking up all my time, and basically it's what I had to do in order to pass my courses. And it's nice to just be able to play a new game for once. I also got Majora's Mask, which is Zelda game, obviously. I think you guys can figure that out. And I never played it before. I got the 3DS remake, which is really cool. I really like it. It's has a bunch of interesting mechanics that deal with traveling back in time. And one of the things I really like about that game is that, you know how like Back to the Future, like you went back in time to go solve people's problems, right? And like do side quests. Majora's Mask is like the first game to be sort of like a Back to the Future game. Is that Plankton? That is Plankton. In the way that like a large portion of the game isn't really focused on going to temples like you normally do in Zelda games. It's a lot of the time you're just trying to get masks that you unlock by helping people do side quests, and like you have to go back in time and do stuff like at certain times of the day that happen like within 3-day structure. So like on the first day you have to go and pick up a letter and then mail it, and then second day you have to meet with this person at this time of day, and it's really unique. And like the day-night mechanic is actually like a real-time day-night mechanic. Not real-time, but like real in-game time. So like 3 days, the 3 in-game days take place over like 1.5 hours or something, and you have to actually like make sure you go to certain events during that 1.5 hours before you have to like go back in time to the start of the first 3 days. And I don't know, like I'm sure a lot of you have played it already, but if you haven't, Majora's Mask is such an interesting game in terms of like its story and its theming. And the 3DS remake fixes a lot of like obviously mechanical stuff that was wrong with it, like just like Ocarina of Time. Basically, they fixed a lot of it in the Ocarina of Time 3D remake because those games use the same engine. So everything they fixed in that remake is in the Majora's Mask remake, and it's just a really good package, and I'm having fun playing it for the first time. Is that a plane? That's a plane. What is this level right now? Like, I know that, like, last time I was talking about this, I didn't really do much, and that's sort of the same thing here. I'm just sort of going places. Oh my god. Go up here, I guess? That's a weird, like, clipping issue. Okay, I got a thing. I don't know what that is. It's like a weird blobby plankton gelatin thing? That is the most JPEG sign I've ever seen. Like, that was not good. I wonder how much better the Wii version is. I'm sure it had a lot of motion controls, which, I mean, whatever. We don't want to deal with that. But I did actually see online that there were certain, like, visual effects that they couldn't pull off in this version of the game that the Wii version could. I don't think it's exclusive to the Wii version, to like, the Wii or the GameCube. I know it's, like, on PS2 and whatever, but I know that, like, this came out at the time when the GameCube and the Wii were, like, just transitioning over. Is this a thing I can do? That is not a thing. Damn it. That was not a good idea. This was actually one of the launch titles for the Wii, I think, like, along with Twilight Princess. Like, it and Twilight Princess both had GameCube and Wii versions, which is kind of funny to think about. So, like, it's sort of the same deal with, like, motion controls, non-motion controls. Like, well, widescreen. Actually, is this widescreen? Why is this widescreen, but Twilight Princess for the GameCube wasn't? Like, that's a really weird thing. Like, neither of the Twilight version like copies. The GameCube version isn't widescreen, but the Wii version is widescreen, but it has motion controls. Like, personally, I'm fine with the motion controls, but some people aren't. So there's no, like, perfect version of the game, like, quote unquote perfect version of the game that people can play. And also, there is like a rumor that Twilight Princess is getting an HD port on the Wii U, which I'm so excited for. Like, I sold my copy of Twilight Princess a couple of years ago. I would be so down for just playing that again. Maybe if they, like, fixed some of the pacing issues. Like, a lot of the world is empty, and, like, there's not a lot to do in a large part of the overworld. And the beginning is kind of slow. Like, I love that game to death, but it is slow. Like, it's not a game that you want to tell your friends, like, hey, play Zelda. You can get into the experience. That's why I usually recommend Ocarina of Time. Like, I would recommend Ocarina of Time 3D for, like, a first Zelda game, because it gets into the action fairly soon, and the mechanics were obviously fixed from the original. And the story is very, like, basic, and it's easy to get into. But yeah, like, I really, really like Twilight Princess and its story. It just takes I'm like one of the first people to admit, it's a very slow game, and it has pacing issues, but I love that game to death. So yeah, I'm gonna see what happens after this race, because I really didn't do anything for that whatever minutes. Is this a new thing? I don't know how this game works, like, in terms of campaigns. Is it like Sonic, 06, and that you do, like, each character's story and then move on to a new character's story? Because, I'm sort of doing SpongeBob's thing. Like, am I getting his license? Am I doing platforming? I mean, I'm into it. It's a cool idea, but not really seeing where this is going. Like, it was very clear in other games where it's like you're making your way to the end of a level and there's bosses, but this, it doesn't seem super clear. Anyway, I think this is a good time to call this an episode, and I will come back in however much time, and we will have a fun time, and you guys are great for watching my videos, so thank you, and I'll see you